And we're back, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate that. As I'm going through my Steam list of games, this time I am going to review Age of Empires 2 HD. This is a re-release of the classic Age of Empires 2 from 2016, and it's the laziest re-release of any game in recent history. And I'll explain why. But yes, you get the classic game, Age of Empires 2, and some of its expansions. And the game itself is what it has always been, for good and worse. I mean, if you start the game and you're greeted with this messy-looking startup screen, you instantly feel that nostalgia floating through you. If you grew up on playing these games in the 90s, so it has that distinctive feel. The design of the various civilizations here is very well done. There's a lot of nice and fun voice work in this game. Also, the game features maybe one of the best tutorials of any game I've ever played. It's very convenient, and there's a good amount of variety in campaigns and scenarios and maps to play. So the objective-based gameplay, this RTS game, is very much intact here, but it's also showing its age, as you cannot rotate the map, for instance, nor you can zoom in very far into the action, and all of the civilizations essentially play the same, except that each of them have one or two unique units. Also, the amount of micromanagement that is involved with the resource gathering and the guiding of your town folks to do the tasks, and the guiding of your military units is just kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of busy work. Also, the lack of formations when attacking is making this game feel really old. I mean, battles look like a mess for the wrong reason, basically. It's very difficult sometimes to distinguish between the various units. There is a sort of a rock, paper, scissors thing going on where spearmen are good against horses and horses are good against archers and that sort of thing. But what does it matter if you can only amass an army and then just sort of send them to the enemy and see how it sort of boils down to kind of this sort of a massacre that's going on with very little you can do to change the tide of battle. Also, what's very evident is the very crappy pathfinding in this game. Still, I do think that the good outweighed the bad if you have played this game in the past and you want to have sort of a nostalgia trip. But for new players, I don't think this is a very much a fun game. And also the HD in the title brings really nothing to the table, in my opinion, maybe except for, yes, you can now play this game on modern systems, but that's pretty much as far as it goes, because the graphics got a little bit of a new paint here and there, but it's pretty much how you remember it. Also, the lack of in-game resolutions is a huge oversight. I mean, for God's sakes, this is an HD version of a classic game, and you cannot change the resolutions in-game. So in order to change the resolution of the game as you play it, you need to change it on the desktop of your monitor, which is really a pain in the ass. I mean, it makes no sense to change your monitor resolution to very low resolution in order to be able to play the game properly. It also never feels right. I mean, on higher resolutions, everything looks very tiny and the text is just barely readable. On the lower ones, you get all these ugly bars, and it's just not very fun to look at. Other than that, yeah, there's Steamwork integration, and there are achievements, and there's better connectivity over the internet, so you can easily team up with another player. But that stuff is just to be expected from a game, from a re-release, I should say, in 2016. So overall, I was not impressed with the HD re-release of this classic game. Fortunately, there is a new definite edition in the works that's coming out later in 2019 with all the old and some new expansions. So maybe that's something to look forward to. Judging from the screenshots, the HD graphics actually look better than the original graphics. So better wait for that. In the meantime, so avoid this HD re-release. Thank you guys for watching and see you next time.